community, close parentheses, raises the fewest questions after 36 recent federal racketeering convictions in the industry, and has zero relative economic impact on Southeast families compared with this 2009. So what I can tell you is actually that email was apparently in response to Paul Johnson's email to Levon Bedrosian. Levon, attached, please find a detailed letter from Suburban Carding regarding the vetting process that his company follows under the auspices of the Westchester County Solid Waste Commission. Please include in your files, best regards, Paul Johnson. So maybe that's the letter. So I would encourage everyone to grab copies of this letter. I know for one that I don't think it's in the town's best interest to be a defendant in a lawsuit where we're charged with libel and defamation, etc. And the one way we could stop it is simply by taking heed of this letter and not saying things like SANAPRO is mobbed up, or that Justice O'Rourke said that they were mobbed or they had mob ties. What I do know right now is I've said it, the judge did not say it. If anyone wants to, what I can do too is, along with, please, everyone, do this, because when you see this, if there is a lawsuit, then you know that I am not anyone anywhere near trying to have a lawsuit against the town. And then, that'll go out for an no, actually, that probably won't go out for an RFP. We're going to have to probably do public bidding, because the legal fees are going to be in excess of $200,000, $300,000. So maybe that could be budgeted too. But what you do is, when you go to the clerk's office, this is the clerk's, excuse me, cameraman. When you go to the clerk's office, what I would like for you to do is go and not only pick up this letter, but what I would like for you to do is also pick up a copy of Justice O'Rourke's decision, because in that decision you will see that Justice O'Rourke did not say that SANAPRO had contact, that he did not find in his decision that SANAPRO had mob connections. He did not do that. What he did in his decision was recite the positions of the parties, and it was AAA's position, as I recall, that SANAPRO had ties to mobs. That's all I'm going to say. So please go to the clerk's office, because I, for one, know that this town cannot sustain a big lawsuit precipitated by false and libelous, or how did he say this here? I think he said false and libelous.
Perhaps you'd like to read it again from the beginning.
Actually, I'd love to read it again from the beginning, because I don't think that I'm getting through to the supervisor.
We have a gentleman who wants to speak here.
Yep, go right ahead.
Go ahead, Greg. Thanks for your patience.
Anytime. Thank you for taking my comment. I had actually read this letter before tonight's meeting and the attached emails. And I was just wondering if anyone on the town board, more specifically Supervisor Wrights, might have an official statement in response to it.
In response to the emails?
A response to the letter, essentially informing that if the allegations continue, that legal action will be pursued.
It's extremely clear. I mean, every week for the last year, these two fellows bring up the garbage contract. And just for the record, I've said many times, SANAPRO had the license, AAA had no license. SANAPRO had good references, AAA had very poor references. SANAPRO had a safety and maintenance program. AAA's program was weak, to say the least. And that was the reason why we went with them. It is a couple dollars more a month than AAA, yes it is. But we're getting the quality service, and we're getting the recycling program, and the safety, and everything else that goes with it. Plus, the judge's main point, by the way, is that AAA did not have a license to operate. That was the key thing. Well, White writes it off as you don't have an inspection sticker. To me, a garbage company having a permit to operate in the county is a pretty big deal. It's much more than an inspection sticker.
I think it's gone over time and time again in every meeting. I'm just more interested specifically to this letter, if there's an official statement the supervisor would like to make in response.
Greg,
I'm not trying to set you up or anything. I was just wondering if maybe you had something you want to say.
The letter speaks for itself. And the larger context of the letter is, the letter was issued by a law firm, Curtis & Leibel, LLC of Carmel, New York. That law firm, Curtis & Leibel, LLC of Carmel, New York, is representing SANAPRO doing business as Suburban Carding. Suburban Carting, their client, is, this town board is cutting checks approximately $125,000 a month to the client of Curtis and Liebel, and Santa Pro, doing business as Suburban, was the higher bidder, as we've talked about, $857,000 higher bidder on the 2010 through 2012 garbage contract. The history leading up to this contract is pertinent. For 10 years, from 1997 to 2007, it's a fact, as reported in newspapers and so forth, that the town of Southeast placed contracts with AWS and subsidiaries, which was a racketeering enterprise. And about 24 of those folks were convicted on federal racketeering and related charges. The person who led the charge, in the words of Lois Sutel, to place those contracts with that racketeering firm was former Southeast Councilman Paul Johnson. So they have an email from Councilman Paul Johnson. He's replying to, he posted it on a public blog. He's replying on October 4, 2010 to an email from Nicholas Orlando. Mr. Orlando is one of the principals, or equivalent, of Santa Pro, doing business as Suburban Carting. Let me read the emails. Mr. Orlando is writing to former Southeast Councilman Paul Johnson. Paul, we have forwarded copies of our response to the town board concerning the matter in which the supervisor of the town of Southeast has been falsely accusing my company, again, Santa Pro, doing business as Suburban, falsely accusing my company of being mobbed up, quote unquote. Both my attorney and I have tried to post this on the website and can't seem to get on. Would you please pass on to all? My employees and I work too hard each day to ensure we deliver a high level of service as well with honesty and integrity. To be mentioned in those terms is just not right. Thank you, Nicholas Orlando. So what we have here is Mr. Orlando writing to the owner of Suburban, Santa Pro, doing business as Suburban, writing to former Councilman Johnson for his assistance in uploading the letter from Curtis and Liebel PC, pardon me, I said LLC earlier, onto the website. Now, that's a little cozy to my mind, given that Mr. Johnson led the charge to place the contract for
there it is.
$857,115 on an anti-competitive basis by taking the high bidder. I find that all just a little cozy for my taste, and it's something that needs to be looked into in greater detail.
Can I?
I'm sorry, that was really long. Is your official statement that you think it's too cozy that a former councilman helped publish the letter in which a law firm representing our current town's garbage company asking you to stop making allegations against them, or they will bring legal proceedings?
It's kind of damned cozy, Greg.
All right. So that was your official statement.
That's my official statement.
All
It's
right,
kind of
great.
damned cozy.
So you'll be willing to go ahead and not say those statements that the lawyers are telling you not to say anymore? Are you kind of agreeing to do that, or are you still on the fence there? It's a yes or no. It's because this is a legal issue. This is not like
I understand, Jake.
All right. Well, I'm not
Jake,
sure
I've
you do.
spoken.
So can you say no? I'm not going to say it anymore, so you don't get sued. I don't know. Is that a possibility? Because this statement is still up on your website, and this is still public information posted on your website. So right now it looks like you haven't taken any action to correct the irresponsibility that you've shown, because that's kind of how it looks on the outside looking in. And we're giving you a chance to clear your name and say, I will stop saying this. I want to make that very clear to everyone out there. We're not trying to attack you personally. We're trying to say, I messed up, and I'm not going to do it anymore. Can you swallow your pride and do that?
Thank you, Jake.
That's a no. That's a no for everyone, so thanks.
I
Thank
just
you, Jacob. Now,
want to know
this gentleman will
if a
speak.
private citizen helping somebody out is as cozy as a public official releasing a confidential report.
Well, Andy, I realize Andy, I realize, to speak to your point, if you're comfortable that they're picking your pocket, then that's fine. I'm not comfortable, neither is the comptroller. There it is.
I am uncomfortable as a former veteran fighting the fought for this country to stand here hour after hour and kind of listen to this gibberish, non-answers, non-intellectual, well, multi-intellectual or super-intellectual. You sidestep the issue so completely that it boggles my mind. Okay? I come to these meetings for information, to be informed as a citizen. I don't need to sit there every week or every meeting to see now we have representations in big cards and stuff. I think it's getting a little bit ridiculous already. It's time to grow up, stop it, and let's go on with the town's business. Let's
Thank you,
move
Andy.
ahead, not back.
Thank you, Andy. Item 9.
If I could just elaborate on
Go ahead.
some of the, just so what everyone knows was talking about, the letter that Mr. Orlando wanted uploaded on the Brewster 105 website. You can't do that. You can't post anything on Brewster 10509 unless you're an actual member of the group. I guess Mr. Orlando wasn't aware of that. He tried to put it on himself, and it would bounce back because it's a closed group, only members can do it. He obviously, when Paul Johnson interviewed this company, he knows him. He spoke to Paul, I guess, and he asked him if he could get this posted so the public could read it. That's what this is all about, okay? But what did surprise me, though, is, and I don't know if Michael wants to elaborate on because I wasn't on the board then, but I do have a copy of the email here from September 8th, 2009, and in it clearly Michael is saying to the town board and to Levon, I believe, and to the town attorney, that as I previously stated, all 3 refuge collection bids received in 2009 are defective. Number 1, AAA presently has insignificant existing infrastructure and capacity. I don't know then what changed from September 8th, where you said that they didn't have any capacity to perform the bid, to whenever the bid was awarded, when you thought that it was okay that they didn't have capacity.
Very briefly, Bob, 2 things changed. First of all, as I mentioned earlier when Councilwoman Hudak read my email, the statement that, the observation that one vendor, the low bidder, had insufficient capacity was made by Councilman Johnson, and that raised a concern. Earlier, Councilman Johnson had observed that the low bidder was he identified in writing the low bidder as the lowest responsible bidder. So there was a flow of shifting information with which we were all grappling. But the bottom line is, on or about September 23, 2009, I introduced a resolution to accept the award from the lowest bidder, who had been identified as the lowest responsible bidder by former Councilman Paul Johnson. That measure was defeated 2-3. Immediately thereafter, Councilman Johnson introduced a resolution to accept the higher bidder, Santa Pro, doing business as Suburban, for an additional charge to the municipality of $857,115 over and above the low bidder. And that passed 3-2. That's the bottom line. That's the hand we're dealing with right now. And there it is. And again, for the owner of the company or principal or equivalent of this higher bidder who received an extra $857,000 to have such a relationship that he instantly contacts former Southeast Councilman Paul Johnson to upload a letter from his own attorney onto a website is cozy and demands a further detailed look. And that's my statement. So let's move on. Item 9, special district penalty charges. Levon, thanks for joining us.